Alex said those folks all look like us, though, you know. If you're a little darker in color and have a beard or wear something we consider funny on the top of your head, well, that's a big, big difference. But I don't know how you sort out at NSA, how you sort for funny-looking things on top of people's heads. You can't. And so the state of the art, as it was 2 decades ago, is that you can collect immense amounts of information from satellites, from intercepted whatever, okay? You can't find what you need unless you get really smart programs and really experienced analysts to guide the retrieval system.
Unless, just like torture doesn't work unless you want fake confessions and to scare people, unless they know none of this really works, they can just claim their intel shows it.
Yeah, you know, in part, it's what I consider to be the biggest corporate welfare program in our country since the Strategic Defense Initiative, you know, the anti-ballistic missile thing.
Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah. What you got here is 2.5 times as big a intelligence budget now as was the case before 9/11. Now, that's $75 billion, Alex. And what we could do in this country with $75 billion, I hate to tell you how many schools we could build, how many teachers we could train and retain, and all the other uses.
How many bridges we could fix. We got a short 5-minute segment coming up, and then Ray's got to go. Let's get into Iran and the green lighting for that attack. Is it on? We're going to talk to him straight ahead. This is vital info. Stay with us. Looks like they're lining up an attack on Iran. We're seeing all these different government leaders say that it's on in the next 3 months. Is that saber-rattling?
I think it's more than saber-rattling. Let me give you a little background, Alex. Iran's alleged attempt to build a nuclear bomb. A red herring, folks, a red herring. The CIA and 15 other intelligence agencies made a judgment at the end of 2007 that Iran had stopped working on a nuclear weapon. Not on the whole nuclear program, but on the nuclear weapon. And that judgment holds, okay? It holds till today. A new estimate is updating that, but so far that judgment holds. Now, number two, Iran has agreed to ship half of its low-enriched uranium out of country. Half. Wow. You would think that the Israelis and the U.S., those who are afraid of a nuclear weapon in Iran, they jump up and down and say, wow, that lessens the chances of by about 50%. Instead, they go into sanctions. They're going to other things that are likely to provoke Iran. Number three, a recent Pew poll shows that in 16 advanced countries, most people believe that it's necessary to attack Iran because of its alleged nuclear weapon. Okay? What's the most important thing? The most important thing is what Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu thinks of our president. The recent encounter that they had in the White House where Obama fawned all over him, didn't mention the settlements, didn't mention the American citizen that Netanyahu's forces killed just 2 weeks before. Netanyahu has the impression of our president as a wuss. I'm from the Bronx. That's a combination between a wimp and a pussycat. And if that's his judgment, which I'm convinced it is, he's about ready to use what he considers to be his ace in the hole, the Israel lobby in this country, and do what he wishes to do with respect to Iran. How would it work? He'd send his fighter bombers just up to Iraqi airspace, which we still control, for 1 more month. He would say, he'd call, there'd be the 4 a.m. telephone call to Obama. Mr. Obama, I just want to let you know, we discovered some really bad stuff about nuclear weapons in Iran, so our planes are going through your airspace now. Make sure you tell Mike Mullen not to shoot any of them down. Now, there isn't one person in Washington, Alex, that thinks that Obama would have the courage to say, no, you don't. We're going to shoot them down. We are not going to shoot any Israeli planes down. Netanyahu knows that. He knows he can attack Iran, and Iran will retaliate and will be in the mix big time, okay? The other thing that he looks at, Netanyahu does, is the election. Our president has showed himself allergic to do anything that would possibly put any Jewish or Israeli noses out of joint before the election, and so this is the time. I will predict that the chances are better than even that Israel will start a war with Iran next month. That's August 2010.
So it's definitely going into the green light phase. And what about false flags? We saw Robert Shapiro in the Financial Times say Obama has to have an Oklahoma City or 9/11 to look strong to the public for us to win the elections. I mean, that was an amazing statement.
Yeah, it's just a trifle more cynical than I'm willing to go. I see Obama as first and foremost 90% a politician, not a constitutional lawyer, not a guy that cares about our troops. And it's on that basis that I judge that he considers it just not a politically feasible thing to put the reins on Netanyahu, given the strength of the Likud lobby in this country.
Well, what do you at your gut think? You say more than 50%. I mean, I know you're hedging there, but I mean, clearly they're moving towards it. Mm-hmm. We've had the former head of the CIA, Hayden, say it's inexorable. It's going to happen. We hear, all these noises coming out. Ahmadinejad believes it's going to happen in the next 3 months. You're saying August.
Well, the thing is, Alex, that you can never be real definitive in these predictions because it still is in Obama's power to prevent this. And indeed, we veteran intelligence professionals for sanity are drafting a memorandum to the president right now, like tonight, okay? And what we're going to say is, you better publicly tell Netanyahu, don't do it. We're not going to support you if you do, and that's enough to turn it off.
And that's going to be at consortiumnews.com?
Yes, it will be, probably in about 3 days.
Consortiumnews.com. We need to get this public statement with all of your expert analysis and bombard the White House and Congress with this report?
Yeah, I would suggest that. That would be great, and maybe we can turn it off.
Oh, we got about 30 seconds left. Anything else we can do to try to avert World War III?
Well, I think you call your congresspeople, you call your senators, tell them that, we're past the point where we're going to be diddled by a country that pretends to be our ally and gets us in a whole peck of trouble in the Middle East.
All right, consortiumnews.com is where you can read all of the great reports by Ray McGovern. Our website's Infowars.com. Ray, talk to you again soon. Well, I sure hope that we don't have World War III. We're going to come back and look at...